Yo, good morning. This is the ancient Texan. I'll try to look over into the camera a little more than I normally do. Although, in the scheme of things, I'm not sure having this old man look at you is a good thing or bad thing. I'm going to call this, morning ponderings, but I'm probably going to be on the same subjects I always am. But what I want to talk about is there's a connection between energy consumption and prosperity. And there's a connection between energy consumption and how much harm we do to the environment. And the link is pretty strong. The more energy you consume, generally, the more prosperous you are. Now, does that mean that's the happier you are? But in things that you measure like GDP, the more energy you consume, generally you're better off. The guy with the yacht is consuming more energy than you. He's got a big ass house. He's more prosperous in the conventional way of thinking. Is he happier? That's I don't think that scale measures that. And there's prosperity, happiness, health. There's a lot of different ways to measure something. And our current system with the dollars measures prosperity as defined by material well-being. Doesn't measure health. Maybe, how long you live, how many kids die at birth, how many diseases we have. There's measurements on other stuff. It's not front and center, and it doesn't have this gauge called the dollar bill that's tracking everything else. Dollar bill tracks material wealth. Maybe indirectly it tracks a few other things, but it's really good at material wealth. So there's this idea that if we just changed our energy consumption from fossil fuels to renewables, we would stop hurting the environment. We would have better health. We would be happier. The world would be a better place. Kumbala. Well, let me put my engineering hat on. Fossil fuels produce X units of fossil fuels produce Y units of prosperity. And I'm using prosperity today, and I'm defining it as material wealth. So maybe I should just say, so X units of fossil fuels produce Y units of material wealth. So if we switch over to renewables and we use X units, like X kilowatt hours, we get Y units of material wealth. Now you would just think that that's, direct, and which one ever gives you a higher number, except it's not. The material wealth that it produces, and actually they probably produce pretty close to the same material wealth. Kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour, and it doesn't matter how it got generated. It probably produces a very similar amount of wealth. What we don't track here is the cost of X units of fossil fuel versus X units of renewables. And right now I'm going to stick with renewables like um, wind and solar. Let's just keep it simple. But the cost, and there's a lot of different kind of cost, but what we're going to focus on mostly is the cost to the environment. Now, we assume that we get rid of the cost to the environment when we go solar and wind. No, we don't. We change the factor. So X, what we hope happens is X units of energy produced by renewables has a cost of Y minus some number. So fossil fuels, X units of energy, has a cost Y units to the environment. X units of renewables has a cost of Y minus Z, where Z is 10 or some number. So that's what we hope, is that when we use the energy from renewables, it costs the environment less. And we could say put other factors in there, but let's focus for a moment. For instance, you could put a factor in there that, the children in Congo, maybe it costs them more when you use a renewable, when they dig the cobalt out of the ground. Now that's not like a fixed thing. We can make conditions in the Congo better for the children. We don't have to use, people digging holes in the ground and caves and it collapsing on the children. We don't have to do it that way. That's the way a lot of it's being done. And China's actually got some mines in the Congo that are very advanced, I'm sure, and they're doing a much better job than, the person that's trying to earn his living by digging out a few nuggets of ore for cobalt. So there's all these other factors that need to be in our equation, and it's quite a complicated equation. But to make progress, we need to know these equations. I'm an engineer, and I know if you don't measure something, it's really hard to improve it. It's just get everybody's opinion, but that's worth pretty close to nothing. So if we want to, move this world where we still use energy to produce goods and services, we need to know the factors for each kind of energy. And you can do that you can expand that a lot. But we don't. We act like we do, but we don't. We really don't. Um, we have a lot of opinions. And also there's transitions. Like, yeah, um, a car that burns fossil fuels makes more CO2, contaminates the world. It's harder on the world than an electric vehicle. But electrical vehicle is not, it's not pure. It's not Virgin Mary type thing. Um, it's got its cost too. And we need to know that cost. And I know people are trying to figure that out. But there's also a cost in the transition. So if you think it's just instantaneous. We switch from Y units of harm to Y minus 10 units of harm. But the transition in general is more painful um, than just comparing the two steady states. We also assumed that, that there's there's a lot of options more than it's obvious. Like if you have a limited amount of copper and cobalt and nickel and all that, maybe you could make three cars into hybrids and one electric, and maybe three hybrids help your environment more than one electric. See, these are complicated. I don't know if they're all that complicated because as an engineer, my head's turning here, and I can see how to game this out and put it on a spreadsheet and have AI help me analyze this. But it doesn't get done by itself. Our government, we need a task force. A task force like going to the moon. But this is a task force about our energy future. It's more than about our energy future, but make something so complicated and still communicate. So we need to have, I would say, the home base for this study should be an engineering company. Maybe there's some thought group that puts the questions together. Philosophical. I'm probably not the right one to put the thought group together to say what we're trying to optimize and where we're trying to go. Um, I could do the engineering stuff, but not that anybody's going to let me. So we have to define the problem, ask the right questions, ask a lot of questions, and filter it down, and then have an engineering company answer the questions. And it's an iterative process. We go around here in circles forever. Why the hell do we do this? Because we're going into a difficult future. Things are going to be hard, especially in the United States. We've been at the top and we've got the furthest to fall. Now, I don't have all the answers. I have a lot of the damn questions, though. And I know how to study stuff, and I know how to optimize stuff, and I know how to set the parameters for a study, and I know how to make sense out of chaos. That's kind of what I did. United States, we don't bring it back to my theme I go to. We don't have the supply chains anymore. We gave those to China. And we are absolutely screwed if we think capitalism and the market is going to bring back those supply chains. From where we're sitting, we cannot compete with China. I have no doubt about the truth of that statement. Doesn't matter how smart we are. It's kind of like you've given them all the bullets and then you've declared war. It's stupidity on another level. It is absolutely stupid. We've got somebody in that's, in charge, that's chaos, terrorists, and starting wars. He's not causing the problems that we've got facing us, but he sure as hell making them worse. And the trouble is, we're not doing the work we need to do to figure out exactly how we need to be going forward. The whole world is going to be depleting the resources. They're going to become in short supply. Living standards are going to decline. Oil is running out. The energy transition is not a piece of cake. We've somehow made permitting anything impossible, and we've decided nuclear, which has the best safety record in the world, is our enemy. So we've got a lot of head problems here, a lot of things that we believe to be true that are not true. And yet, we're still smart. There's a lot of people a lot smarter than me that can look forward. Nate Higgins, I always sing his song. We can make a better future than the past, but we have to let go of some things. And one of it is our current form of capitalism. Capitalism by itself is kind of a made up term that means nothing in the scheme of things. It's a free trade system. It's let the market and people trying to make money get together and make a plan, and that will be the best for all of us. It's not proven to be quite true. So we get hung up on the term capitalism, socialism, communism, democratic socialist. I think that's all just, smoke that gets in our eyes, makes us choke on it. But what we do need is a master plan. And that master plan may pull from a lot of different political ideologies. That's okay. We need a master plan, and I'll concentrate on my area. You guys concentrate on your area. I look at supply chains and say we have to rebuild supply chains, rebuild our minerals and metals infrastructure. We need to be sourced more locally. And the whys of that is, like 10,000 podcasts. But none of it's trivial. It all takes a master plan. Now, if your market doesn't allow making a master plan, then you're screwed, because you need a master plan. And you probably need a master plan where things get subsidized at least a decade. I mean, there's no way in hell we're competing against China in an era of declining resources that we're going to do it without subsidies. And I think we subsidize on the base level, like the raw material level, minerals and metals, commodities, the building blocks of the rest of our society. But we also have to have a vision of what this new world is going to look like. It's going to be smaller, and it's going to be focused on people's well-being, not just their material well-being, but their health, physical health, mental health, you know, what kind of food they eat. It's not going to be about making a lot of money. I'm a metallurgist, forgive me. So we've got this new future. What we need is a master plan. And we need to not emphasize ideology as much as a master plan and results. We know we need to switch energy forms, but we don't know. That's a very nuanced statement, and how, what mix. We know we need to start living in, tighter communities and have more interaction, more community. Are you seeing how many things we need to do? AI, it might help us, but it can't do the value judgments for us. We have to do that. Might even hurt us. I don't think the jury's in on AI, and I don't think we're asking, the right questions there either. Anyway, this is the Ancient Texan, and this is my morning pondering. And I think I'm going to do ponderings as a kind of a normal feature now. I hope it helps somebody, these ponderings of mine. But it helps me to talk this through. I've done a lot of work in building systems, supply chains for individual plants. And I think I have something to offer. And I bet you have something to offer too. And we have to start working together. Not asking too much. Anyway, this is the Ancient Texan, hoping you have a good weekend. Namaste.